There is Dario Franchitti, our pole sitter, as he has got the Cottonelle Target onboard camera this weekend. A total of 7 onboards. James Hinchcliffe, as he is in the GoDaddy.com onboard camera. Ryan Briscoe, of course, driving with the IZOD onboard camera. J.R. Hildebrand will be with the National Guard. Scott Dixon is going to be fighting his way up through the field with the Firestone onboard camera. And we've got Will Power with the Verizon onboard and Charlie Kimball with the Novo Nordisk onboard camera as well. And there is Charlie. And we're getting ready now to send it down, and it looks like it's going to be Michael Andretti that is going to give the command. He has been instrumental in bringing racing back to Milwaukee this year. Let's get it started. You heard the radio communication. Third time by, we'll get the green flag. At 12:30 this afternoon Central Time, we were scheduled to go green. It's a little past 2 o'clock Central Time, so about an hour and a half delay because of the weather. But we are finally having engines fired and ready to go. Now, across the top of your screen, get the entire starting grid again, so you'll be able to pick out your favorite driver. And we've got several key players. Will Power starting 14th, and Scott Dixon starting 21st. That's first and second in the points championship. They got their work cut out for them.
And with that, Marty, they have to have patience here today because you've had a delay. Drivers are really programmed to get going. With this delay of an hour and a half or so, you get back in the car. You have to reset your standard procedure that you do for each and every day. And boy, you need to be patient. You want to make up start time and you want to make up positions when it goes green, but be patient.
You know, we're always interested in certain things that happen away from the track. Anybody who is a fan of The Bachelorette, Ari Lyondike Jr. is part of the program this year, and he did the Indy Lights race yesterday, and I guess Jamie Little, you've caught up with him?
Yes, he's a broadcaster as well, but yes, Ari, we have to ask you, I know you can't say if you won this thing, but do you make it to the end?
Oh, I can't say that. You'll have to watch every Monday night. 8/7 Central, and I had a great time on the show, and it feels good to be back here at home though at the racetrack, and today should be a really exciting race.
Good to see you here. Ari Lyondike Jr., you could see him Monday night, ABC 8 Eastern. Marty?
225 laps of racing about to begin here at the Milwaukee Mile. Race 8 in the 2012 IZOD IndyCar Series. And we have talked about the significance of tires and tire management. Now, as a driver, Scott, how do you do that when you're trying, like the guys that are back at the back of the field, to move front?
Well, different cars and different tires here at Milwaukee than we had last year. And because the cars are so different, you know, I think back to last year, you just sort of were on autopilot, and the tires stayed underneath you for the length of the fuel run. Here, it's going to be, I believe, like Texas, from talking to all the drivers, that, for instance, if we get 65 to 75 laps out of a fuel run here, they don't believe the tires will last that long in their prime position. Now, for a driver, they're going to go off, and yes, you can run to the last 55 to 75 laps with a slower pace, but drivers don't like that, Marty. They'll be calling to come in for a new set of Firestone Firehawks probably about lap 35 or 40.
And we saw that happen at Texas. Guys that were trying to hang on to that last pit stop late in the race couldn't do it, including great drivers like Scott Dixon.
And that's the thing, and these drivers know it. They're asked to do something very special. You drive on the edge around here anyways. The car always wants to come out from underneath you. You have to deal with the traffic, the different changing conditions that we'll have today with the track because of the rain. All those things are going to play today.
25 cars with 1 lap remaining till we go green here at the legendary Milwaukee Mile. 225 laps of racing staring us straight ahead with no more rain in sight. On the front row, Dario Franchitti closest to you in that blue number 10. On the outside, it's Ryan Hunter-Reay. Then Rubens Barrichello with his best start in his IndyCar career. Elio Castroneves alongside EJ Vizo and Tony Kanaan. That is your first 3 rows. Through turns number 3 and 4, pace car has pulled down. They come down the front straightaway, waiting for the green flag. It flies, and we are green. Everybody made it through turns 1 and 2. We're down into 3 and 4 already. Coming down the front straightaway, Dario Franchitti is your leader with Ryan Hunter-Reay second, Elio Castroneves third, Barrichello fourth, Kanaan fifth.
You saw on the start the group that was in the back, probably from about 20th backwards or maybe 18th backwards, didn't really get up into the queue at the very beginning, so that will certainly cost them time catching up.
Saw James Hinchcliffe there. He is running in the 8th position. Remember, a lot of these guys have got to work their way from the back, including points leader Will Power in that number 12 car.
Tagliani having a look on the inside of J.R. Hildebrand. He started that back in turns 3 and 4, trying to get it completed here in 1 and 2, and that's what happens here, Marty. To make a pass happen, you actually have to start it in the turn previous.
And look who is running almost nose to tail now. You're on board with Will Power. Right behind him is Scott Dixon. So Dixon has already jumped up from his 21st starting position up to 17th.
And he was one of the guys caught in the very back there on that start. The group didn't get close to the pack in front. That cost him a little bit of time. He's now making great time.
And there is Dixon. Shows you his numbers. Says he has picked off a few spots. In fact, he's picked up the most, 4. Joseph Newgarden, another one of those 10-position penalty players in the number 67. He is in 14th position. He has picked up 3 spots right now. Best battle on the course right now as Justin Wilson trying to track down Alex Tagliani, and that is again for 10th position. Here we go. This is getting interesting. On the outside, getting racy early. Here comes Dixon, and he's going to take the spot.
And I bet you Power probably did not expect that, because he was ready to let the car flare out to the outside of the wall. But look how Dixon's car is working. It's on the edge, Marty. It's just sort of flirting out from underneath him. Like we said, he is so good at driving these cars on the edge.
And again, the question you ask yourself is, how much abuse can you afford to give these tires early? Rick, what do you have on Scott Dixon?
Interesting. Yesterday, I would talk to the drivers as they were getting out of the cars after they qualified, asking, well, is it going to be a better qualifier, a better racer? Scott Dixon was one of the few people who got out of the car and right away went, oh, yeah, definitely going to be a better racer than it was a qualifier. Talking to him this morning, he said the same thing. Now out on the track, he's able, obviously, to get around Will Power and those other cars. We don't know what he passed on the start, but we've just shown that he can pass cars on the track as he does it again.
And right at the bottom of your screen, you saw Graham Rahal getting a spot, as also you see Dixon getting Catherine Legg right behind him there, and there is Will Power further back. And there is the 38 of Graham Rahal as he got around Marco Andretti. He is now into 12th, move Andretti back to 13th. And you can see already on the radio talking about tires.
Well, drivers always want to go as fast as they can, and even though you may set a race pace that you talked about with your team and your team manager, drivers will get in there and they'll just drive as hard as they can, especially after the delay, because you really try to program yourself again, as I mentioned. So for these drivers, as we watch the target machine of Scott Dixon come out of the turn so fast, he's carrying the speed so fast, Marty, he is going really, really quickly. Interesting to talk on the tires, though. Is he taking too much of the prime off his tires right now, and when he gets to lap 30, he won't have something he can drive quickly any longer?
We saw him take a look at turn 1 at Joseph Newgarden, couldn't get it done and lost the momentum and has now dropped back a bit. Tell you that up front, Dario Franchitti has led every lap. He leads by 1.1 seconds. We've been watching Scott Dixon because he has picked up 6 spots so far since the beginning of this race after starting 21st in the field. He's getting closer again to Newgarden as they come down the front straightaway. That group right behind him also having a little action. That's Catherine Legg and Will Power, as Power's trying to get under her.
You know, as we're watching these guys go around right now, the guys at the front, we talk about Dario Franchitti and Ryan Hunter-Reay and even Elio Castroneves, all running speeds of 158 miles an hour. Even though we were watching Dixon go through the traffic, he's turning speeds down in the area somewhere in the neighborhood of 153. So quite a bit slower.
Now there is your race leader, Dario Franchitti, a 1 second lead, Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, Dario Franchitti, even though he qualified on the pole yesterday, didn't think he had a great race car. In fact, he said they needed to do some work on it overnight to make sure that they were going to be able to pull it off and do well in the race. Apparently, they've done that.
And just as you finish up, Justin Wilson had to back out of it, lost a lot of momentum as he was trying to get around J.R. Hildebrand in the number 4.
Certainly caused by getting the aerodynamic downforce off the car because he got in behind the car in front.
Didn't quite understand what he said there.
He's saying the car's pushing a bit, and so if he ends up getting behind another car in front like he did with Hildebrand, that would just make it worse.
There is Marco Andretti as he's now got Scott Dixon all over him. And Andretti has gone the wrong direction since the start of this race. He started 9th. He's back to 14th. And as we said, Dixon's on the move.
Yeah, Marco's fastest speed, 150 miles an hour, roughly, by looking here now. So he's some 8 miles an hour, almost 9 miles an hour slower than the leaders. And as you mentioned, he's probably hanging on. The car's not working well for him right now, Marty.
Will Power has gotten around Catherine Legg. In fact, Legg has dropped back to the 18th spot. On board with Will. He is currently running 16th. And there goes Dixon underneath and around Marco Andretti. So Marco has a handful right now.
And that started back in turns 3 and 4 because Scott Dixon was a lot faster in the middle of the turn with his target machine. And for Marco Andretti, he's struggling in the middle of the turn with his RC Cola car, and he just could not keep the speed up.
All right, let's go back and show you Will Power when he got around Catherine Legg. Maybe this will explain why Catherine dropped all the way back to 18th. Well, what do you think?
I don't see a whole lot of moving going on there. Not that he's worse than I did at Texas. I don't know. That was almost a left-hand turn in Texas. But, you know.
Will Power trying to go under Andretti. Rick, what are you hearing?
Well, Tim Cindric came on the radio just a moment ago and told Will Power that he's about half a second faster than the leader. He said, the leader's in traffic, but you're doing well. In other words, even though you may have had that little contact, it hasn't affected the performance of the car on the track right now.
Oh, and he has got a run on the 26 right now. And he completes the pass through turn number 1. So move Power up to 15th and Marco back to 16th.
And for Marco, he had nothing else to offer there because the car is not working well. He knows it, tries to drive it hard into the center of the turn. He knows he doesn't have the grip there, so he had to get out of the throttle.
Marco Andretti, we've seen him move backwards. Jamie Little, have you got any update for us? Do you have any kind of problem?
Well, it has not been a good weekend. Yesterday, he said his car wasn't dog. He said he was scared and the problems were irreversible. So I talked to his strategist, Kyle Moyer, this morning. He said, we made some wholesale changes. We're either going to be really good or we're going to be just as bad. Marco now on the radio saying, guys, there's got to be an engine issue, as his father, Michael Andretti, on the right watches on.
Well, James Jakes is closing on him as we continue here at Milwaukee. We've completed 21 of the 225 laps. The same man has led all of them, Dario Franchitti. And as we go a little bit into the field, Alex Tagliani and the 38, they're both getting around Simona Di Silvestro. She is 1 lap down in 25th.
Very talented driver, Simona Di Silvestro. With that Lotus engine, it's under development. A lot of work to be done on that to be able to run on par, the same speed as both Chevrolet and Honda. A driver that we saw that was getting close to being on the podium last year in many races, but unfortunately, until that Lotus motor comes up to power to meet both Chevy and Honda, she will not have the opportunity to compete.
And that tells you the story right there. Look at the lap speeds. All right, Dario Franchitti, the 5th race he has led this year. His lead is down to 0.3 of a second, though, because he was working his way through traffic, and there's what it looks like on the track. Now, I know it's early in the race, but here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay taking a run on him, and, oh, he's thinking better of it.
Oh,
he's going to take another run. Oh, is this close?
Ryan got out of it just in the middle of the turn, maybe because he didn't have the grip or didn't think that he'd have it. Now his job is to set Dario up in the turns 1 and 2 and have a shot at it down the other end.
Vince, what's going on with Newgarden?
His fuel pressure alarm has been going off, so they wanted to come in, and he said it's stuttering a little bit, so they went ahead and put more fuel in it, gave him 4 tires. They said there's not a lot they can do about it. Certainly disconcerting for the young rookie.
Well, he also ran over the air hammer on the way out. We'll have to wait to see if IndyCar calls a penalty on that one.
Well, unfortunately, the guy that's supposed to pull the hose in just didn't even start pulling the hose in when the tire changer threw the gun. So that's a team fault right there, unfortunately, for Joseph.
Teammates going after each other. E.J. Vizo in the 5, and right in front of him is Tony Kanaan. That is a battle for 5th on the racetrack. And Ruben Barrichello there in 4th.
Now for Barrichello, remember we talked about him 19 seasons in Formula One. This has got to be fun for him. Ryan Briscoe is now coming in. Jamie?
And we're seeing different strategies here. You've heard a lot of talk about the tires, and we're going to see different guys come in at different times. Ryan Briscoe, of course, changed an engine yesterday, just getting it warmed up today. You see a big change on the front wing there for Ryan to get his car to the balance he desires.
And we just got an official word from IndyCar. Newgarden will have to do a drive-through penalty because of hitting the pit equipment on exit. So the 67 is going to have a bit of a problem. Here is what happens right here. Doesn't get that cord, and
yep. Oh, now that team member is feeling really bad just because he could not catch the hose when it was coming towards him. And he will be thinking that, boy, I just put one of the good drivers in the field back into harm's way.
Yeah, and they'll probably drop him to 2 laps down right now. So we'll see what happens as a result of the drive-through. Let's check in on Firestone telemetry with Dario Franchitti.
Watch this, 100% on the throttle. Go down towards the next turn. You will ease off of it here. And back on the throttle. Remember last year these guys drove these cars around here on the throttle a lot more, and now they say we cannot do that, which puts the driver back into piloting these cars around, no longer on autopilot. Tougher for the drivers to drive, Marty, but all the drivers are saying, boy, it's a lot more fun. You feel like you've done something.
Right now, Briscoe is shown 2 laps down as a result of his pit stop. Newgarden 2 laps down as a result of the pit stop and penalty. Catherine Legg 2 laps down in 23rd. We're checking on what happened to Catherine as she did come in, but don't know exactly if it was strategy or unscheduled at this point. Justin Wilson and J.R. Hildebrand on the right side of your screen. Dario and Ryan Hunter-Reay on the left. And there is Helio Castroneves, who's running in 3rd. And in 4th is Rubens Barrichello with Tony Kanaan rounding out your top 5.
Now, Marty, talking about Ryan Briscoe coming in for tires, and if it continues under green right now, you know that you lose 2 laps under a green flag pit stop. If this group here turns around and does the same thing, they'll all be back on the same lap and competing for spots. The problem is, if it comes under yellow, then the advantage goes to the guys on the track.
You see the actual top 5 going through. There's Helio Castroneves. We pointed out in our pre-race, our extended pre-race, he's had the pole here 3 times, but he's never won here. He's come close, but there's always been something that has denied him the top spot on the podium. J.R. Hildebrand and Justin Wilson had a wicked twitch right there. And it may give Hildebrand a chance.
And this is a time when you know the car's not working. Now he wants to stay out. He's waiting for a yellow. And that's what Wilson's thinking right now. If I can just continue pedaling this thing around, that's what he's told the team he wants to do, I'm sure. And they're telling him, great job. But there you're just flirting with a disaster.
And you saw Helio take a real run-up on Ryan Hunter-Reay and have to really back off at the last minute. That's what Milwaukee can do to you here. We did get an update on Catherine Legg. She has a transmission that was overheating, so they made a pit stop to check that. That's why she is now down in 23rd position. Now there is Graham Rahal with Ryan Briscoe right behind him. Now remember, here comes Dixon around the 2 car, but remember, Briscoe's made a pit stop. He's in 24th, 2 laps down.
And his tires should be just a little bit better than the guys that started that have not stopped as of yet, but it looks like Dixon might have just a little bit more speed.
Briscoe pitted back on lap number 26. We are working lap number 37.
He doesn't like his car, Marty. When you see a driver not driving hard into the turn, I've had that here before, that if you like your car, you can drive right in the center of the turn, and then you deal with whatever it's going to do at that time. So we're watching Joseph Newscarton's car go behind the wall, so obviously they're going to try and get whatever that problem is fixed.
Vince, what's wrong?
Well, remember, just a moment ago, we told you they were having a pickup problem, and the fuel pressure alarm had been going off, so they've got to get now into the fuel cell, so they want to take the car behind the wall to work on it. Remember, Newgarden told us before the race, they've had speed, but they just can't seem to get over the hump. They keep getting bit by the bugs, and they've gotten it today.
Yeah, another bug bit them right there.
Yeah, and if there's a problem with that, that's right down in the fuel bladder, certainly because the pot's not picking up the fuel in the bottom there for him.
Boy, Justin Wilson just got around James Hinchcliffe. He has now moved up to 8th. Remember, Wilson started 12th in this race, qualified 2nd, but with the 10-position penalty for the engine change, was back to 12th. Rick, what are you hearing on the Hinchcliffe?
Well, going into the race, Hinchcliffe was one of the people talking about it from a tire strategy perspective and saying he may be having the concept where he's going to run a little softer in the beginning in terms of not running quite as hard, so he's got more at the end of the stint. In fact, they were talking about potentially even setting up the car so it would run better at the end of the stint. That may be why he's not moving up now, trying to take advantage when everybody else starts to go off.
And a good point. We have to keep that in mind as to who is trying to massage those tires rather than abuse them.
Oh, that was a defensive move because he knew he did not come off the turn as quick, knew that J.R. Hildebrand was behind him going quite quick. And you see that dirty air, what that causes there? Hildebrand loses a lot of downforce on the car and ends up having to work the wheel just to keep the car straight.
Or is it his tires got a little hotter because he was making, passes earlier?
Right now, the tires... Interesting to hear the information from the spotters up top. All teams have spotters up on the top of the tower giving information.
Okay, that's Justin Wilson talking about J.R. Hildebrand earlier. And so we'll wait to see if anything transpires. I'm sorry, it's James Hinchcliffe he was referring to.
And game shifts when we saw Hinchcliffe just a moment ago coming off a turn and starting to run low. He knows he does not have the speed coming off a turn, so instead of running the preferred line, which is to the right of the track, close to the wall to set yourself up for the next turn, he did run down the center of the straight. Now, by the current rules, you're allowed to do that. You just cannot make a second move. I'm impressed with what Justin Wilson has done. He had a car that looked like it was ready to step out on him, and then he's worked with the tools inside the cockpit, the anti-roll bar adjusters, and also the weight jacker, which moves weight from the left front to the right front depending on what you need to make your car handle better. And he's done a great job with his experience doing that to make his car respond to the different track conditions we have here. And a little bit of maneuvering and blocking because he knew he got held up from Pagenaud ahead of him. Didn't come out of turn 2 as quick as he should have, and knew that Hinchcliffe was getting some speed, so he did run a bit of a defensive move and doing the same thing again.
So now he has to hold that lower line. Hinchcliffe has to stay on the higher line to try and get around him.
And these cars don't have enough grip sometimes to do the crossover, although Hinch is trying it. You see, right now, maybe the tires are starting to go off on the 18 Sunny Barbecue machine for Justin Wilson, but he then cuts across, goes towards the center of the apex, takes the air off of Hinchcliffe's car. Now Hinchcliffe has to see what's going on, run an attack line, run high, cut down low, and get the speed coming off the turn to hopefully maneuver the car to the inside going down into 3.
That 5.8 seconds, that's the margin to the race leader. Hinchcliffe running in 9th. There is your race leader, Dario Franchitti. He's got a half a second lead over Ryan Hunter-Reay. We are working lap number 48 of 225. Dario has led every single lap. Let's get you caught up as we go up to speed with Firestone and Rick DeBrule.
Well, let's start off with Dario Franchitti and talk about what a difference a week makes. At Texas last week, his car was literally diabolical in the middle of the race. They had to come and make major adjustments, and he still was able to finish, but only barely. This week, he hung on for dear life in qualifying, got up front. Now he's running up front. Remember, last year, he led the first 115 laps, didn't lead the middle section, but still was able to win this race. I think that's his plan again. Jamie?
Well, Ryan Hunter-Reay, he has a plan of winning this race once again like he did back in 2004. Started on the front row, the best start he's had this year. Pretty confident in the race car. They're already talking fuel, save it. Not planning many changes for this first round of stops for Ryan Hunter-Reay, Vince.
The third place car is Helio Castroneves in that yellow with the white down the front. Castroneves has not commented much about the handling of the car other than to say he thinks it needs a half turn of front wing at that first pit stop, which we're expecting at about lap 65. Jamie?
After 19 years in Formula One, here's Rubens Barrichello on his third ever oval. Had his best start ever, and his car is so good, they just told me no changes planned for this first round of stops, and we're looking at lap 62. Meanwhile, one of his best friends of his entire life, Tony Kanaan, has been breathing down his neck. They're keeping an eye on each other. Tony Kanaan pretty happy with the car. They're on the same strategy, just like they were in qualifying. They worked well together, and they qualified third and sixth. Vince?
And right behind is the 5 of E.J. Viso with another good run being put together again today. Viso telling me earlier that they've run better than the results have indicated, but we've got to start putting up the results. His strategist, Jimmy Vasser, just told him a moment ago, these last 15 laps of the stint, the handling is going to go away. Be prepared. Jamie?
And Simon Pagenaud, who started 7th, told us in his first time here, he respects this place, and it has been difficult to figure out. His spotter telling him, you're shallow on entry, trying to learn the track, learn the correct line, but he said the car is pretty good early. Let's go back upstairs to Marty.
All right, thank you, Jamie. As you are up to speed through the top 7 positions, 8th place is Justin Wilson. There you see him right behind the 77 by about a car length to 2 car lengths. Then James Hinchcliffe and J.R. Hildebrand round out your top 10. We can tell you that there are 21 cars still on the lead lap. Joseph Newgarden is the only car behind the wall right now. Not officially out of the race, but 19 laps down.
You know, everything seems like it's settled down. Everybody seems to run a little bit of a pace. I just thought a few laps ago when we had a lot of those blocking maneuvers going on, the other drivers that are being blocked would be calling back to their pit box, telling them what's going on. And now the race director this year, Bo Barfield, has instant messaging. So the team managers in the pit lane can instant message when they're not happy about something or question something to Bo Barfield, the race director. I suspect he probably had a very busy 5 or 10 minutes there.
I have a feeling it's not over yet.
Down.
And here comes Hinchcliffe right behind, because Pagenaud's probably shaking his head saying, I can't believe he did that. And here he's going to lose another spot, potentially. Oh, they almost touch. Down the front straightaway, Pagenaud almost clear.
Honda powered on the right. Hinchcliffe driving a Chevy. A drag race down the turn.
And J.R. Hildebrand has a great view of it all. Hinchcliffe does get around.
See, this is when Pagenaud's car is starting to go away, and so he's looking for a spot. Look at his wheel. Oh.
Marco Andretti has made it to pit lane. Jamie?
And as we reported, Marco's been struggling with the car. It's so bad he thought they had an engine problem. They just changed tires there. A lot of air pressure adjustments here to adjust to the track after the rain.
Well, I think Simon Pagenaud is giving us a perfect example of what happens when your tires literally are gone, as he has lost several positions in just a matter of a couple of laps, and there are other cars closing in on him quickly, including Alex Tagliani.
And he's thought, you know what, I need to come in and rectify this before I put it in the wall.
And he is, and so is Tagliani right behind him. So they peel off and come down pit lane here on lap number 61. Jamie?
And you can imagine after all that action, Simon Pagenaud is excited about this stop to take a breath right now. Oh, and he overshoots his pit box. They have to push him back. No changes on the car, 4 tires, Rick.
Well, with Tagliani, he was complaining about the car early on. The goal was to make a change in the wing. I didn't see him do that, but a nice clean stop, get the Sunoco fuel in, and out much faster than Simon Pagenaud.
And Pagenaud still in pit lane, and it was a very costly stop. It's bad enough when you do it here under a yellow. When you do it under green, it is going to cost you a lot of track.
Well, remember, he is one of the rookies that's here, and it's his first season driving on ovals as we watch Dario Franchitti go by. So just a rookie mistake, really, for Simon Pagenaud going too far in his box.
Tony Kanaan peels off from his top 5 starting or running spot. Jamie?
And he gets the countdown. They said just fill it up with fuel, change the tires. Sunoco fuel, that is. No changes, holding them, making sure they get it full, 10 seconds flat. Meanwhile, Sato is in on the right-hand side. Bobby Rahal making the call, 4 tires. Good stop.
Servi has also stopped. There's the 28 of Ryan Hunter-Reay, Jamie.
Ryan Hunter-Reay said he wanted to change, but they said, let's not do the front wing. That'll make me move. So they just filled it up. A little bit longer stop than we normally see, Vince.
Well, they had a real problem on the outside rear of Justin Wilson's car. A slow stop.
We'll see how it affects him when they get back out in the cycle. And here comes your race leader as Rick, he's coming your way.
Yeah, coming all the way down. Not talking about big changes. Been fairly happy with the car so far. The goal here, get him in, get him out, do it as clean as possible. As you can see, they look over, knows the front wing adjustment, just tire adjustments, and he's out.
So lap 65, race leader Dario Franchitti comes in with an 8.2 second stop. And there is Graham Rahal as he is now making a stop. As he gets it in 9.3 seconds. James Jakes has also pitted. There is Helio Castroneves. He is shown as your race leader right now. And we'll have to wait and see when they come through. Here comes Ryan Hunter-Reay on those fresh tires. He's going around him. But remember, Ryan made a pit stop. That should put him back on the lead lap. And we have a caution on the track as Simona Di Silvestro has turned it around. Down in turn 4, and that brings out our first caution here with only 6 cars shown right now on the lead lap. As several were in pit lane, they get to complete their stop, including Rubens Barrichello and EJ Viso.
And Marty, for Simona going around like that, when you can spin a car and not hit anything, which looks like exactly what she did at Milwaukee, that is a lot of talent.
And it looks like she is climbing out. So something obviously gave way on the car, because it's just not a matter of stalling.
No, it looks like she is climbing out, so maybe there is some damage that we don't see, or she knows that she has broken something that will not allow her to get back onto the circuit.
Now, we should also point out, remember when Ryan Hunter-Reay was trying to get his lap back, he also got around Dario Franchitti. So right now, those cars that are out there after making the pit stops, Ryan Hunter-Reay is in front of Franchitti. Now, Helio Castroneves has not made a pit stop. In fact, the top 4 have not. Castroneves, Hinchcliffe, Dixon, and Power. And the reason they did not come in is because pit lane is closed. And it looks like the team is going to do some extra work on Ryan Briscoe, as they have got the rear assembly area ready to go. And here's what it looks like from the onboard camera.
You know, and last year you just were replacing the wing. So if you want to replace just the wing this year, you actually change along with the rear back ballast that we have that's just in front of those rear tires to stop the driver from behind from hitting your tire.
Word is now pits are open. Here comes Helio Castroneves. And Vince, we're going to send it your way first.
Well, the car's been handling pretty well for Helio Castroneves so far. They're expecting to make a front wing adjustment, but otherwise no complaints. As you see Castroneves, top of the screen. Middle of your screen is James Hinchcliffe.
Well, James Hinchcliffe, at one point they were questioning whether they should have gone in when the pits first opened up, right before they closed, when that yellow came out. But they were happy, minor wing adjustment. As for Scott Dixon, happy as well. Now they just got to get out, but he doesn't quite beat James Hinchcliffe.
So you see the race off pit road with those involved. They basically are going to come out the way they came in. So we are under our first caution with 69 laps complete here out of the 225 that will run at the Milwaukee Mile. And we'll be back after a word from your ABC stations. Back here at the Milwaukee Mile, a 1.5 hour rain delay. And obviously, if you are looking for NASCAR Nationwide Series action, and you need to switch over to ESPN News, as that's where they'll be located as we continue our race here under caution with 72 laps complete. Now, E.J. Vizo is your race leader through this cycle of pit stops, and here's the pep talk from the radio. I'm not sure I'd buy into that with Scott Dixon picking up 14 positions since the start of the race. there are some guys out there that can't pass.
Well, you know, if it was like 2 laps to the end, I think I would feel pretty confident in hearing that. But, you know, when you're only 72 laps into 225, there's a long ways to go.
All right, let's reset this one. Trying to get the restart zone to EJ. It's a yellow line extended from before you get to pit in. And we see the 2-car of Ryan Briscoe with a new rear wing assembly area. And Jamie, what actually happened to that car?
Well, he was the first driver that we've seen pit today, and the problem was he said his car was so loose he was out of adjustments, out of tools, things that he could do from the cockpit. So this time they opted to take out the rear wing, take it off, and put a new one on. The thing is, you look at it, nothing looks broken here. So they're just trying everything they can to get the balance back underneath Ryan and get the car where he can race it.
Well, Briscoe is 2 laps down right now in 23rd position. Simon Pagenaud has come back down pit lane. He was shown in the 17th position. So they are going to bring all 4 tires. Top off. While he pulls back out on the course, gives us a chance to talk about ABC on Monday. The Glass House puts the lives of 14 contestants in your hands. The game is played by them, but they are played by you. The Glass House series premiere Monday after The Bachelorette on ABC. Rick, you've caught up with Chip Ganassi?
Yeah, it's time to talk strategy right off the bat. You know, you might have been in a good position with that pit stop. Now, how does it start to play out for the rest of the race? I mean, what do you do with your leader?
Well, you know, Rick, we're not the leader anymore because those guys. Looks like Vizo and Barrichello were in the pits when it went yellow, so they got a little break there. But I mean, we'll just have to get around them, I guess.
Let's talk about tire strategy. Is this a race where you're going to have to conserve at the beginning and let it go at the end, or do you just go for it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that run right there, Dario at the very end of it was thought his rears were getting burned off a little bit, but he was still, you know, he was still at the front, so it wasn't a problem. You know, we wouldn't want to go much further, I guess.
The question is whether the cars work as well when he's not in the front.
All right, Rick, appreciate it. We have 18 cars now on the lead lap after the waiver rounds. Dario Franchitti is now shown in the 4th position. During the cycle, we've had 4 different leaders. Franchitti's led 63 laps. Vizo, Castroneves, and Hinchcliffe have also led. Behind Vizo, our race leader, it is Barrichello, Hunter-Reay, and Dario. That's your top 4. Then Elio Castroneves, Hinchcliffe, Dixon in 7th. After starting 21st, Will Power, Tony Kanaan, and Alex Tagliani. That is your top 10. Now let's listen in on Graham Rahal's radio. We're back to the days of Morse code.
It is. So you just click the button on your radio. They'll listen to either 1 click or 2 clicks to get that answer.
All right, so we're getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing, and Graham Rahal has no way of communicating other than clicking the radio. Double file restart now. Remember, now you see Carpenter up there. They do not move the lap cars out of the way until the last section of the race. As we have Vizo, Barrichello, Hunter-Reay, Franchitti. That is your top 4. But you can see Mike Conway is there as well. We've got a car slowing. I don't know if they're going to go green. There's a car slowing way down on the back straightaway. It was Justin Wilson, as he was going extremely slow. So he was supposed to be in the 12th position for this restart, but you could see with all the lap vehicles, he's going to actually be in the back.
Yeah, dead zone there, Marty. I'm starting to wonder if maybe he had something wrong with the gearbox where he couldn't get it to the next gear. We'll have to watch that as the race progresses here.
So they'll reform and try this again. Now, in order of what you're seeing on the track, there is the front row with Carpenter on the outside. To the right is Vizo. Let's quickly listen to the 18 radio. All right, we know you could call there, Mr. Goodyear. As you said, it could be a gear situation, and it was. They come down. Now, Mike Conway, also lap traffic. He's in that second position. This could get a little dicey. There's Rubens Barrichello alongside. Whoa, and we're going to go 4. And no, we aren't going to go 4 wide through turn 1. 3 wide, though. And everybody made it. Well done, team.
Ryan Hunter-Reay looking on the inside of E.J. Vizo.
Now that is Carpenter, the first car across the stripe, but he is not on the lead lap. He's at the very tail end of the lead lap right now. If the yellow would come back, he would get to come around. On board with Scott Dixon. He's shown in the 8th position. That's Elio Castroneves right in front of him. Come out of turn number 4. You can see Dixon makes the pass and gets over the spot from Elio. And Elio under attack from Tony Kanaan now. That is Will Power, the 3rd car in your view. 3 different lines going through turns 3 and 4. E.J. Vizo's your leader. Barrichello is running 2nd. So the KV Racing team liking their position right now.
This is when the car feels the best, Marty, is when you got new tires on it. Yes, you've got more fuel on board than you do at the end of a run, and so the car could be lighter, maybe handle better. But because these tires are so important, as we see Dixon getting on the inside of his teammate. Boy, you don't want to be touching, knocking each other out.
If Chip Ganassi's watching that, he's going to be on the radio. He doesn't mind them racing, but he doesn't want them that close. All right, it looks like it's settled down, at least for the moment. If you're looking for NASCAR Nationwide Series action, it is over on ESPN News. As our race had a 1 hour and 30-minute rain delay.
He's going to try it again, so close, looking for a little bit of a draft.
This is for 5th on the racetrack. Dixon started 21st in this field.
His teammate really just closed the door on. This is where you're riding along now with Scott Dixon for the number 9 target machine. As you see the team owner for both those cars, Chip Ganassi, on the right-hand side. He's watching the same picture that you're watching, and he's going, I'm going to take this for a couple of laps, but I think they had a little bit of a touch there. If you look in the back part of the blue number 10 machine, I think I see a little bit of a white scrape on that fender of Allis.
Rick, what are you hearing down there?
Well, Dixon, during that last pit stop, came in. They made a slight tire adjustment. Didn't have to do anything major. Remember, he was the guy who was happy with his car in the beginning, and so far he's been happy with him, as you see now moving right below his teammate with James Hinchcliffe in tow.
And he is going to take over that spot, so move Dixon up to 5th, Franchitti back to 6th, and here comes Hinchcliffe.
When your car works, you're very confident. I was starting to say that with new tires on here. This is when the drivers were on to really try and make up spots. But for Dario, who had turned a 158-mile-an-hour lap at the beginning of the race, just before he went in for that pit stop, he was down to 146 miles an hour, Marty.
Saw somebody poking their nose down low there. Didn't get the job done. It was the 12 of Will Power. He was taking a peek under Tony Kanaan. Now you've got Takuma Sato right behind Will Power.
And that 12 move that you saw from the 12 car, Will Power, went to the inside because he knew the 77 of, the 15, Takuma Sato, was having a run going down to the turn. So he took a defensive line. Now Sato has to turn around and start to set him back up again to have another charge at him.
Little action trying to develop a little bit farther back. That's J.R. Hildebrand with the National Guard number 4, Oriel Servian, that 22. That is for 12th and 13th. Did I hear JR's radio saying pit this lap? Yep, they're laid out. So Hildebrand last pitted on lap number 64, and we're only on lap number 91. So Vince, we're going to send it to you a little bit early here. What's going on?
Well, obviously, Marty, they've got an issue. They certainly wouldn't be coming into pit at this particular spot without that problem. So looking at the engine has just shut off on the 4 car. They don't look to be working on anything in particular with it now. They just checked a piece of suspension on the left front. Going to refire the car, but obviously it was not handling to his liking. We'll see if we can get a word with John Barnes here momentarily.
Thank you, Vinny.
And Vince, I saw them pull something out from the radiator inlet there. The mechanics reached in. It looked like it was a piece of foam or something that was actually stuck in there. So they might have had a heating issue with the car and probably saw that the temperature was going up.
Battle for 6th right now. Franchitti trying to hang on. Hinchcliffe right behind him. And you notice since Dario has not been out in front, he's had a bit of a struggle now.
Well, and it seems to be he doesn't have the pace that he had before. Remember, you have to choose where your downforce level is going to be. And in this scenario, does he maybe not have enough downforce level to keep the car running in traffic? Now, he's not running that close to Dixon, who's in front of him, so I just believe that the handling is not exactly where he needs it.
You see the numbers on Hinchcliffe. His fastest lap, his last lap. And there's a lot of spray coming up on. Whoa, and Justin Wilson. Does he have?
Yeah, it looks like they might.
It is on fire, and it is really on fire.
Now he's one of the tallest guys in the series, 6'3.5" inches tall. That's a long frame to get out of that car, but when it's on fire, you will. Now this is when you're hoping that the safety crew will get there very quickly. He's waving to them.
Our second caution comes out here on lap number 95, and a tough break for Justin Wilson, the winner just a week ago at Texas, qualified second, had to start 12th because of the 10-position penalty with the engine change. And here's what happened when the engine just went up.
Yeah, and he felt it before we started to see the smoke. He saw him start to dive towards the inside of the track. Now, I believe that was still the Honda Series 1 motor that he had in that car, and they were just trying to complete and finish up the miles on that, and they opted not to do an engine change here this weekend.
All right, let's talk a little pit strategy now that we know that Justin is okay. You've got your caution here, completed lap number 95. And as I look down all the cars through the top 12, back in 10th and 11th, Kanaan and Sato pitted on lap 62, and the range goes all the way as high as lap 69 for Scott Dixon. So what do you want to do?
Well, for me, I think just the way the tires seem to be, fading off here, and the best of the tire goes away after about 20 or 30 laps. I would not be surprised to see a lot of people come in and take advantage of this yellow to not only change tires but also fill up. Remember, if you pit under green here, you're certainly going to lose 2 laps. I got to believe this is going to be a very busy pit lane once the pits are open.
Right now we have 17 cars on the lead lap. We have 2 cars officially out, Justin Wilson and Simona Di Silvestro. Joseph Newgarden is back in the race, but he is 62 laps down. All right, pit road is open, and E.J. Vizo is going to be a taker, so our race leader is coming in. So is Barrichello. So is Ryan Hunter-Reay. So you were right on, Scotty. Most of the field is taking advantage.
Ryan Hunter-Reay in his box. You see E.J. Vizo there as well. A lot of takers. Michael Andretti on the radio told Ryan Hunter-Reay, if the leader pits, you pit. Down the way. Rick?
Franchitti brings it in. Nice clean pit stop. No major adjustments beyond air pressure. A little bit on the slow on the right front, but they're getting back out late.
It's going to cost him a few positions as well.
I saw a wheel nut laying on the ground for the right front for Franchitti, so the crew members have an extra wheel nut attached to their belt on their fire suit. I suspect he probably got that and put that on, but there was a wheel nut for the right front sitting there on Franchitti.
Did you see Alex Tagliani picked up the 2 spots on pit road? He restarted that last, after the first caution, 10th. He was up to 4th, and now he's going to be up in 2nd place.
I had a discussion with him just a couple weeks ago at Detroit, and he said, you know, we're just getting our hands around changing over from the Lotus engine. And he said, you know, we really have a good car, a good team, and now we just need to do all the finer points to make everything mesh. Very talented driver. Remember, he went away from IndyCar racing for quite a few years and got the call from Eric Bachelard a couple of years ago to come and sub for a driver at Detroit. And he said, once I got in the car, he said, I loved it, wanted to be back, and he's done a very good job, both on and off the track, getting sponsorship to be able to compete back here in IndyCar.
That's Ryan Hunter-Reay right behind him. Now, we should point out that Helio Castroneves did not pit, so he is officially your race leader right now. But everybody else behind him that is on the lead lap did. So this is some interesting strategy by the 3 team.
Well, it is, because Helio ended up getting stuck out last time when they had that, and he just missed the pit window coming in when the pits opened, and he got stuck out and ended up being shuttled to the back. So I guess they're going on a different strategy now.
There's Dario Franchitti. He is now shown in the 9th position. Let's go back and show you some of this action that he and Scott Dixon had going on when they were battling for position. This got too close for comfort.
It doesn't take much to knock that front wing. And if you end up knocking it and breaking any piece of that front wing on Dixon's car, he would have to come in and change that. So you can see Dario in the blue Cottonelle target machine is just slow mid-turn. Dixon in the number 9 target machine has a lot more mid-speed turn. He's just got to get the timing down to get past him.
And the view of the 2 target Chip Ganassi racers.
You know, it's interesting, with as difficult as these cars are to drive, Marty, if you look at the steering wheels, you see in the top of where their gloves are, especially for Franchitti, you see a big black butterfly, as we call it, and they make these steering wheels so when you push up around the turn, that big piece of rubber, that butterfly as we call it, actually helps you keep the grip, because you just can't hold these things strong enough.
All right, let's get an update on Helio's strategy. What about it, Vince?
Well, we wanted to talk with John Erickson, but at this moment he's communicating with the team. Obviously the only ones that did not come in to pit. John, what was the thought process there?
Just wanted to get him to the front.
There you go. You heard it. Just wanted to get him to the front.
Well, what we've seen, when Dario Franchitti was up front, he had the best car out there. Nobody could get around him. E.J. Vizo, nobody got around him. Here's Helio as we come down for the green flag. It flies. No, yellow. They wave it off.
So that one didn't look like a 2x2, did it at all?
I know, and as
but everybody on new tires, Marty, want to take advantage of the grip that you have, so they'll have their foot on the gas.
See, and I don't know about you, and with the double foul restarts, you've got J.R. Hildebrand now on the outside of the front row. He is 2 laps down in 22nd position. Should he be there?
Well, if he can get in front and get 1 lap back, that's what he's trying to do. There's still a long time in the race, and Helio, he's going to get the good jump this time.
Oh, Vizo, real slow in the middle there. Green flag is out. Helio gets a good start, but Vizo gets swamped by about 5 cars. That's Ryan Hunter-Reay down into the corner. Right now it is Castroneves, Hunter-Reay, Vizo, still shown in 3rd because that's J.R. Hildebrand. As we mentioned, he is 2 laps down.
Boy, watch us side by side. A lot of close racing. Hinchcliffe getting close also. Now going to go around the outside of the number 2 machine of Ryan Briscoe. Remember, Ryan's been in a couple of times, have had some work done. So he's putting in laps, does not have a car that he feels comfortable with, and everybody's starting to file by really without too much trouble.
On board with Ryan Briscoe, he is in 22nd position right now, also 2 laps down. Now, in about 3 minutes, we are going to be switching over to ESPN News and swapping spots with the NASCAR Nationwide Series, as they will be coming over to ABC. Now, our coverage will continue on ESPN News and ESPN3, and that's in a little less now than 3 minutes. So get ready. There is James Hinchcliffe right now, and Hinchcliffe shown in the 5th position. as he is a full 4 seconds behind race leader Helio Castroneves. And again, the strategy of being out front has worked. Castroneves has opened up almost a full second lead over second place Ryan Hunter-Reay. So whoever has been out front on these restarts has been able to take advantage.
Both Castroneves and Ryan Hunter-Reay running the same times.
Oh, and a crash. Takuma Sato is into the wall. And Sato, well, this will be his 4th race in a row where he has crashed out. James Jakes involved as well. And J.R. Hildebrand. We're just seeing his car for the first time. He's tucked in towards the inside of the track. This is all down in the turn 2 section. Actually, he's coasted all the way down to turn 3.
Yeah, we're not sure if it's a result of the two of them getting together, maybe 2 separate accidents, but a lot of damage for Takuma. And a driver that also came from Formula One who's been quite strong. Remember that beautiful run that he had over at Indianapolis.
Okay, let's go back and see if we can sort this out. Now this is the restart.
Looks like Takuma up there, yep, just getting loose. Boy, that's not going to be good for him.
Okay, then let's go 1 lap later.
See, and the back end's now coming around, and we don't know from that view whether or not he went around because he got involved with James Jakes, or else if Jakes went around and took out Takuma. So this will be interesting to see.
And Sato had last pitted on lap number 97, so it might not have been a tire issue. Now, again, we're going to be reminding you, we're going to be stepping aside over to ESPN News and swapping spots with the NASCAR Nationwide Series. They'll be coming over here to ABC. We've got our 3rd caution, though, because of a 3-car incident. And there you see J.R. Hildebrand. And
with the smoke coming off of that, I think that we know that he's obviously has a problem, maybe called engine related, possibly.
Well, for all those fans that have switched over from ABC to ESPN News, we're glad you joined us here at the Milwaukee Mile, the IZOD IndyCar Series. We have knocked down 111 of 225 laps, almost halfway through this event. We've had 3 total cautions. We're in the end of our 3rd one right now. As you can see, we had a lot of damage with James Jakes, number 19. J.R. Hildebrand, as Scott pointed out just before we moved over from ABC, it looks more like that's a separate incident where the engine may have let go or something mechanical on that car. And of course, Takuma Sato lost control and hit the turn 2 wall very hard, and that's the end result on the number 15 Myjack Delara. Let's go back and show you a couple more replays. We've got a total of 5 cars out of this race. Bottom left of your screen.
Start to see the back end of Sato ends up going out wide, ends up catching the back of James Jakes. Now remember, we saw on the previous lap Takuma Sato in the number 15 Ray Hall Letterman Lanigan machine was having a problem, and now we're on board with the number 4. You can see the smoke coming out of the tailpipe, and he wisely shuts it off. And then in the background, you can see that the accident is actually happening behind him. So 2 separate incidents there, but clearly the number 15 Myjack machine ended up going up the road, skating up the road, and taking out James Jack.
And Vince has caught up with J.R. Hildebrand. Vinny?
J.R. Hildebrand back on pit lane in his pit box. What happened?
I mean, car just shut off going down the front straight there, going through 1 and 2. So, you know, it's awfully hot out here. We might have had a little bit of a cooling issue, something like that. But just a bummer for the guys. You know, we've got a lot of the National Guard folks out here with the Hiring Our Heroes program to try to deal with the unemployment issue, and we were having a pretty good run there. We kind of got caught out by that yellow, and then obviously, you know, be out of the race now. So just a bummer for the whole National Guard Panther team.
Was the issue of the car shutting down related to the previous pit stop when it seemed to be that you were having an overheating issue?
Yeah, we were having an overheating issue, and then I think it was hot enough at that point that through the yellow we couldn't drag it back down or run around in a lot of traffic out here. You know, I didn't really get any clean air, so you know, just kind of an unfortunate, obviously an unfortunate end of the day here for us.
Thanks, JR. By the way, guys, that was the right side oil block off that they had removed on that previous pit stop, Scott. It looked like that might have been debris from underneath the car, but because it was overheating, they had removed that right side oil block off.
That's terrific information. So it seems like they were chasing a problem as the day was going on. And all these engine manufacturers now are pushing the limits of these motors for both horsepower and also mileage. And you think back to what we've had for the past 4 or 5 years, Marty, just one engine manufacturer running conservatively, and that's changing a little bit now. We're all trying to do better than the next engine manufacturer that's out there.
Well, and let's update. One more car is now officially out. Joseph Newgarden and the Sarah Fisher Hartman team has withdrawn and put it back after they came back out 67 laps down. So 6 cars out of the race. While we got a moment, let's take a look at the 12 car Will Power. He's streaming live on IndyCar Mobile from Verizon. Race fans, you can have a chance to design your very own IndyCar race helmet for Will. Go to myverizonhelmet.com for all the details. The best design will win a trip for 2 to the final IndyCar race of the season in Fontana, California. So the 6 cars that are officially out: Sato, Jakes, Hildebrand, Wilson, De Silvestro, and Newgarden. We have a total of 17 cars on the lead lap. 2 other cars, 1 lap down, Catherine Legg. 1 car, Ryan Briscoe, 2 laps down. Young fan there. Helio Castroneves is our race leader. Let's listen in on the radio. Fourth race this year that Helio Castroneves has led. And of course, he won the series opener this year back at St. Petersburg. It's the 8th time he's led here in Milwaukee, the most of any active driver. But as we pointed out earlier on the broadcast, he has yet to win at this track. He's been on pole 3 times. But maybe today's the day.
You know, and that's amazing for a driver that is just so competitive on all types of tracks. And last year, as we talked about before, just not winning a race, that was I would have lost a bet on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would have. All right, let's reset it for you as we continue under this caution, our 3rd of the day. Helio Castroneves is the race leader. Ryan Hunter-Reay is 2nd. E.J. Vizo has a good run going in 3rd. Scott Dixon started 21st, has moved all the way up to 4th. James Hinchcliffe is 5th. Alex Tagliani with a good run in 6th. Rubens Barrichello with his best oval run shown in the 7th position. There he goes through your screen. His best friend Tony Kanaan is 8th, Oriol Servia 9th, and Dario Franchitti, our pole sitter, has dropped back to 10th. Let's take a look at our Firestone lap leaders, because Dario Franchitti led from the get-go for the first 63. E.J. Vizo 2nd on the list. Helio could be passing him here shortly. And James Hinchcliffe officially led 1 lap. So that's our 4 men who have led the race.
Now it's interesting because obviously Castroneves has stayed out as they're still doing work to pick up J.R. Hildebrand's National Guard machine. And with Castroneves, since he's pitted, he's been running 49 laps, obviously quite a few here underneath yellow. So he'll get a green and probably have to start thinking about getting back into the pits to get fuel, which then will turn over to Hunter-Reay.
Jamie Little has caught up with James Jakes.
And he has been checked and released. James, we've looked at a couple angles of this, but from your perspective, what did you see?
I just think Takuma got low on the inside and was loose, and I was flat on the outside, and he just ran straight in the side of me. I haven't seen a proper replay yet, but well, there you go. You can see it clear as day on the TV. Maybe his banzai moves are a little bit too much at times. We were trying to get our lap back. We had a great car all weekend, and we had a problem in the pit stops on the first stop, and we went a lap down early. It's just a shame, but get the car repaired and move on to Iowa.
Glad you're okay. Let's go back upstairs to Marty.
Well, and to put a period on Takuma Sato, one of the things Bobby Rahal was trying to do was to get him to calm down. He has had a history of crashing. He has 4 DNFs with crashes in a row now, dating back to Indy. Now, that one everybody can forgive because, you're going for the race win. But he crashed at Detroit. He's crashed at Texas. He's crashed here. In fact, he has mechanical issues at the first 3 races. His best and only green flag finish was at Brazil, where he came home 3rd. So if he can keep the car under him, he's got the talent.
Well, I think we also have to look back to the lap previous to where he actually ended up hitting James Jakes. We saw him on the start at the back end, stepped away from him. So we're seeing the number 2 of Ryan Briscoe coming in for more service work. Remember, they were having handling issues, so he's trying to get him repaired. But I'm not so sure that maybe Takuma Sato in the number 15 machine did not have something going on with the car, because the previous lap, it just seemed to really step out him quite quickly, Marty. And when we watched that replay, it looked like he was inside comfortably on the inside of James Jakes, and the front end broke away. So I'm not so sure that maybe there wasn't something mechanically go wrong on his car for him.
All right, so we're going to get ready for the restart. And unlike the prior restarts, the top 6, I'm looking, top 7, it looks like all the way back through the top 10 at least, everybody is going to be in running order. We will have no lapped vehicles clogging up the restart.
And that's what drivers love, because you're racing for position. There's now starting to do the 2x2 restart, side by each. The second row's got to get a little closer to the front because they're going to take off here in a hurry.
Pace car is already getting ready to pull into pit road. Helio Castroneves with the choice has selected the inside. They come out of 4 down the front straightaway. Flag is green.
What happens in the start, Marty, and restarts is that when they go green, the spotters who are up top are telling their drivers,
all right,
busy time.
Scott, I just got word while you were finishing up there. Scott Dixon is going to get a drive-through penalty. Officials ruled that he jumped the restart, not this time, but the time prior. Now, we've got the restart for you. And this is not this start, but the one prior.
Well, I don't understand what's going on with that, because when the green flag goes, you can pass on restarts. You don't have to wait to the line. Matter of fact, even on the starts, I think it's on the new rules.
Well, he's serving the penalty, and this is going to hurt him a lot, as he had come all the way up from 21st, put it in the top 5, and looked to be a contender.
Well, from what I saw there, Marty, I didn't see anything wrong with that.
Don't know if we have another angle that might have shown it. Rick, what are you hearing down there?
Well, Dixon made it very clear as to what he thought about that. He called it ridiculous. Mike Hall tried to get him to calm down, saying, look, we just called it. We're going to do it. Go catch up. And he just came on the radio again a moment ago saying, I didn't jump it. Bottom line is he's already served it. Now he's got to catch up again. Remember, he'd gone from 23rd, 21st, all the way up to 4th and 5th position.
Yeah, well, at least he stayed on the lead lap. Now, here's another view of it from up top. There you see the number 9.
He's on the outside. And he's just following Ryan Hunter-Reay. That's ahead of him.
And Vizo's the one that stalled there.
Slow. I mean,
he was not on the gas at all.
I don't see anything wrong with that whatsoever.
Tough break. But Dixon is 17th right now. But as I said, he's still on the lead lap. He's got 13.5 seconds to make up. The only good thing I can tell you is he's got a lot of clear track in front of him right now. There's the margin back to race leader Helio Castroneves. We'll keep an eye on his lap times here, see what kind of speeds he's able to turn. While all this continues with Helio Castroneves well out in front, Jamie Little has caught up with Takuma Sato.
And he has been checked and released as well. And James Jake said you just flat got into him. What was leading up to that?
Well, we were side by side from the turn 4 and then getting back to the main straight in turn 1. And we were very close. I was just hanging in there. It's nothing, position-wise, I was boxed in and just the loose, the back end loose, and we made a contact.
All right, close racing. It's a product of it. His 7th DNF this season, Marty.
Yeah, and it's another disappointing end for that entire team. As we are watching the battle continue here out on the track. That's Tony Kanaan on the left side of your screen. Dario Franchitti right on the behind him there. That is a battle for 8th on the racetrack. The third car in that freight train, that is Ed Carpenter. And Carpenter managed to get back on the lead lap through the courses of these yellows. He has done an excellent job and is running in that 10th position.
Ed's done a great job coming up from junior formulas all the way through. Remember, he did a different thing than most of the drivers that are probably on the track today that ran formula cars, and he went through all the midget ranks and what have you, and did all the oval tracks here in the Midwest, and really a driver that has done a great job adapting to these cars. And another driver that's out there that understands you have to do 100% on the track and off the track, because it's his team this year. He's a driver owner and has the fuzzy sponsorship. And is a rare breed today, Marty, because as a driver owner, you have a lot of pressure during the week. And then when you come here on the weekend, you have to sort of turn all that off and put your racing helmet on.
Checking back in with Oriol Servia in the 22 and Tony Kanaan, as that looks like Kanaan's getting ready to make a move for the position, taking the look underneath, and Servia holds his line and holds the spot. So now we'll have to reset it. Meanwhile, let's check in with Vince Welch.
Another heartbreaking finish for Joseph Newgarden and the Sarah Fisher team. What was the mechanical failure there?
We don't really know. We actually brought it back behind the wall, tried to figure it out, get it fixed, and get it back out and get some laps in. But, we weren't able to find the solution. So we got to, I think, bring it back to the shop, dig a little deeper, and see what happened. But, something fuel-related. It just started cutting very early on me in the race, about 5-10 laps in. And, we were kind of nursing the problem early on, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And it's just a shame. This whole Sarah Fisher Hartman racing crew, they do such a good job, and whatever it is, we just can't catch the break. So we got to try and find something that can change our luck.
Marty?
All right, another tough break for the team, but they'll get it sorted out. As you take a look at Marco Andretti right now with at Graham Rahal right behind him. That is 12th and 13th, and Graham looks like he's got a bit of a run on Marco. That's Pagenaud, the third car. Here comes Graham taking a look to the inside. Down into 3, and he's going to make it look easy.
Remember, they've had a bit of sparks going on earlier this year back in Long Beach when Graham was doing a little bit of blocking with Marco, and Graham is still on probation up through the next event in Iowa. So there's not a lot of love lost between those, and we've had some feuds in the past between great racing families, and this one just is continuing on between the Andrettis and Rahals.
While that continues, that has settled down. Let's get an update on Marco from Jamie Little.
Well, earlier in the race, he thought he was having engine issues. He said it just didn't have that pull, that torque. Then about lap 70, he said, guys, my brakes are failing. Finally, Kyle Moyer, his strategist, came on the radio about 15 laps ago, and he said, we have a slight brake leak, so take care of your brakes. I can't imagine what that would feel like, Scott.
Oh, boy, that is something around a 1-mile track when you've got walls looming all the way around. So luckily that in this particular track, you're not using the brakes going into the turn like a particular road course or anything like that. But if you need them, that is just a time when you're going to have panic going across. So not something a driver wants to hear, that's for sure, Jamie.
While all that continues, we'll update you. The race lead is just over half a second with Helio Castroneves ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay. EJ Viso is 1.1 seconds behind. Now, Helio Castroneves last pitted on lap number 69, so we're working lap number 141. Those tires have got to be screaming by now in pain.
Well, at the end of his run right now, the track is getting better because he's still doing almost 152 miles an hour on his last lap. Remember when we went back, I went to green here at the beginning of the race with a green racetrack with the rubber off of it. At the end of that stint, the leader, Dario Franchitti, at the time was running about 146, almost 47 miles an hour. So the track's going to be more user-friendly to the tires, so speed. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, he had a wiggle there, and he had to get out of the throttle while you were looking at the monitor, to the scoring monitor, check the statistics, and that allows Ryan Hunter-Reay to get around him. And just what we were talking about, we're wondering how long they could hold on. There's EJ Viso closing in, and that is for position as well. That's your top 3 right there. So I think we found out that 70 laps, Vince, maybe a little too long.
Oh, Marty, that was a huge wiggle. I don't know if wiggle even does it justice, as you see another one. That's EJ Viso going underneath Castroneves. One of the real advantages to Helio staying out when everyone else pitted was the fact that he had the clean air, and he said the car reacted so much better with the clean air. That's now not going to be the case. He's trying to get 14 more laps 24 before pitting, 14 more before pitting.
Man, that's going to be tough. And this goes back to what we saw at Texas. Guys trying to hang on for dear life. Don't go a lap down. Get to your next pit window. And some of them didn't make it.
Well, and most notably, obviously, thinking about Scott Dixon when he was getting close down to the end of his fuel run, and you end up getting tires that are worn, as you're talking about, and he ended up getting caught on the apron on the left-hand side because the car wiggled, almost caught it, and it put him into the wall. And in this scenario right now, Elio's just trying to probably do much the same, trying to keep the thing out there. But look at the distance right now that Ryan Hunter-Reay has put on Elio since he has passed. It just tells you.
Now, remember, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
You don't have to be in a hurry. So try tell a driver that he's going.
Ryan Hunter-Reay and Vizo, who's now in second, both pitted on lap number 97, as did Tagliani Barrichello. Castroneves is, like we said, just trying to hang on. Just to, as you keep watching there, give you a verbal update on Scott Dixon. He is 16th right now. He's picked up one spot. Oriol Servia, Tony Kanaan, those two still duking it out for the 7th position. Fastest last lap was E.J. Vizo. Second fastest was Will Power, who's running 11th. Third fastest was Ryan Hunter-Reay. And Vizo again this lap. And now Ryan Hunter-Reay shown as the fastest on this lap.
You can see the difference in the handling of the cars when you watch two cars going through the turn. Somebody's able to drive it in a little deeper. They have to slow down the middle, then they get back on the power to exit. And then maybe some other drivers had a bit of a different line where they try to keep them speed constant through the turn. Cars are handling different for all these drivers.
You heard the call, and that they're talking about Elio Castroneves. Here comes Rubens Barrichello with Tagliani on the outside. Barrichello's taking a peek. He's got to think better of it.
Looks like he does have the faster car because he's able to keep his foot on the gas through the center. Won't want to try and do anything here in turns 1 and 2. Want to set it up right now through turns 1 and 2 and hopefully complete it down the other. And does not look like he's close enough to make that happen this lap.
Well, it's also allowed Elio to stretch it out over Tagliani because Alex had his mirrors full of the number 8. Rick, what are you hearing on tags?
Well, it's interesting. The team isn't talking about who's behind them. They're only talking about in front, giving him advice, making it very clear that the car ahead of them is fading. They need to set him up. Don't worry about the guy behind you. And they were also pointing out that this particular car, they feel it's okay in the early part of the stint, but better at the later part. Their goal was to keep up with the leaders and hope to take advantage of them towards the end.
Well, he showed that the last time. Remember, he restarted once from a yellow 10th. Came in 4th on the next yellow and got picked up 2 more spots on pit road. He started this race in the 13th position, so he has proven that he can work his way to the front. Oriol Servia, Tony Kanaan. Ooh, little wiggle there by Servia. And deeper we go into this run, we're going to start seeing more of that.
As those tires start to lose the best part of their adhesion, then the drivers are putting more of their input into keeping the car around the turn. But I think to what we're talking about here with fuel mileage and distance of pitting and what have you, the guy that's hoping that there's something that needs a yellow out there will be Elio Castroneves, because he hopes a yellow is going to happen here shortly, so he does not have to pit underneath green and lose not only track position but probably 1 or 2 laps. He's hoping a yellow comes up shortly, where then everybody will come in for service.
We have completed 153 of 225 laps. Things have calmed down just for the moment. And we're waiting for when Elio Castroneves is going to have to come to pit road. He was trying to stretch it to like around lap 83, lap 84. And Dixon right there is in jeopardy of going a lap down. Charlie Kimball was just passed by Ryan Hunter-Reay a few moments ago. And Vince, they're blinking. He's coming to you.
Hearing John Erickson talk with Elio, telling him to make sure he hits his marks, keep the hand on the clutch, making sure that they don't make any mistakes, trying to get off pit lane. No changes for the 3 of Castroneves.
Good stop, 7.6 seconds. But he is going to go a lap down as a result. And boy, Dixon's trying to do everything he can now to stay on this lead lap after a pass-through penalty. Checking in again on Servia and Tony Kanaan, the battle for 6th. You see Elio Castroneves right behind him there. Castroneves is in 17th, 1 lap down.
You know, I'm just looking at this with this last pit stop that Elio just had. You know, he might be able to make this to the end, Marty, depending on the fuel mileage.
Well, we'll keep tabs on that because Castroneves, he made it from lap 69 to lap 154. He could definitely go the distance here, depending on what happens with 68 laps to go. We'll try and sort all this out as you get an idea of just where the race leader is coming down the front straightaway, trying to put Scott Dixon a lap down, and he does. Well, we're back here at Milwaukee, and the race continues, albeit with a 1.5 hour rain delay. Ryan Hunter-Reay there in the number 28 Sundrop machine, your race leader. As 63 laps to go, he's got a 2-second lead over E.J. Vizo. He is trying to put Mike Conway a lap down. Behind Vizo, it's Alex Tagliani, who has now moved up into the 3rd spot. Rubens Barrichello with a great run in 4th. There they are, tags in front of Barrichello. And then James Hinchcliffe rounds out your top 5. You saw Elio Castroneves streak through there. He is 1 lap down in 17th, as is Scott Dixon, Charlie Kimball, and now Mike Conway. So here, with 61 laps to go, there is Ryan Hunter-Reay, your race leader, by 2.7 seconds. Let's give you the Mothers race rundown, as we had a 1.5 hour rain delay, and that's what slowed us down initially. And then Scott Dixon was moving up after having a 10-position penalty for an engine change. Started 21st, had some close contact with his number 10 teammate, Dario Franchitti. Then we think he definitely was called for a penalty for jumping a restart, but that was the caution flag. The green flag never came out on that one. We're still trying to wait for clarification on that. Justin Wilson loses the momentum when he ends up losing an engine, and that's the end result as the Texas winner goes out of this. And then a crash on lap 109 involving Takuma Sato and James Jakes. And right now, Scott Dixon is in for a pit stop, and this should be his final stop with 59 laps to go.
Marty, you saw them take a lot of front wing out of that, and as we were riding on board with him just previous for you doing that, I was noticing he seemed to be fighting the steering wheel, meaning the car was probably very nervous for him and had just too much front wing on it and too much front grip.
Okay, so Dixon is back out. Let's go back, because we are still trying to sort this penalty out for Scott Dixon that put him back and is now a lap down. Now, this is the one that was waved off. Now, clearly there, he's around the 98 of Alex Tagliani, but there was no green flag.
But in defense of that, we do not know when the green flag was waved from that video and when they said green, green, green.
This was the one that was waved off.
I understand that, but we need to understand when he gets told green, green, green for audio.
Ah, good point.
Okay, so if it was green...
Dario Franchitti's in live. Rick?
Well, this is not the race that Dario Franchitti thought they were going to get. As a result, leading early, relatively clean on this stop, unlike that last one that's cost him a few seconds.
And the two-time winner here, Tony Kanaan, no changes. They'll fill it up with Sunoco fuel, put on 4 tires for Tony Kanaan, who's had a very decent day here.
Graham Rahal brings the car in. Early on, he was complaining about the fact that it was entry and exit on 4 were a problem. They got the Sunoco fuel in, and he's out, though. James Hinchcliffe brings the car in. They've been happy with the car. They're putting in a little bit of front wing. Other than that, they think they're getting set up for what could be a pretty good run to the end of this race. Once again, more Sunoco fuel. Get him out. 8.2 seconds.
And here comes Alex Tagliani. Rick?
Alex Tagliani brings it in. What a shock to him to be running this high. When he got out of the car yesterday in qualifying, he said he was surprised that the car was doing so badly. He was hoping it was going to do even better. It's been clean. The goal for him is to keep it clean the rest of the way. There you see Will Power. He was complaining he wasn't going to be able to pass anybody, but he's definitely done a better job. Jamie?
Ryan Hunter-Reay gives up the lead. It's been 8 years since he went to victory lane here. The car is good. 4 tires. They filled it up. That was tight, but he made it out.
And it was tight as he managed to get out cleanly. Rubens Barrichello also, and boy, Rubens has been spectacular today. Has so limited experience on the ovals, and this is a tough place to drive. Vizo, the race leader, now peels off. Vince?
Remember, E.J. Vizo's best performance ever, a 3rd place finish at Iowa. He's contending for the win today. Would be his first victory in the IndyCar Series. No changes on this 5 car, pulling it full of fuel, getting him to the finish.
Little longer than some of the other stops, 10.3 on the clock, but he is back out. Now, the one guy that we're not sure about, and look at this pack, look out. Boy, Tagliani had to really pull up to get around the slow 83 of Charlie Kimball.
And it looked like he almost was going to run over him going into the turn. Charlie seems to be just a little bit off of pace there, but running a good line in the outside, and the other cars getting through on the inside.
On board with Charlie right now. Charlie, remember, he has not made his stop yet, so in his defense, he is still on very worn tires. There is Scott Dixon. Dixon back on the lead lap as a result of the cycle of pit stops, but he is still in 14th position, 24 seconds behind the race leader. In fact, that's Ryan Hunter-Reay coming up on him to potentially put him a lap down again. This was just 1 lap ago. Look out. It's Marco Andretti, the first car.
Interesting to see that Dixon was going to try and take the high side, but knew that he was running out of room, but had a good enough car to be able to change lines underneath as we ride on board right now. See, he's going for the outside. Marco is going to do say, nope, there's... Wow, that was very close.
And that was for position, so that put Dixon ahead of Marco Andretti, and since Marco has now gone a lap down. Looking at Helio Castroneves and Tony Kanaan, that is a battle for second on the race course. Now, Castroneves went 85 laps on that last tank of fuel, but remember, 34 of those were under caution. So he may still have to make another stop here, as we have 48 laps to go. It's Hunter-Reay, Tony Kanaan in second, Castroneves third, Servia running in fourth, and Hinchcliffe rounding out your top 5.
Doesn't look like Helio has the pace of the 2 guys that are up from front right now, the leaders, because the class of the car, or class of the field today, and the car to have seems to be Hunter-Reay.
Well, and all these guys that did stop last, they're well within the window as long as their tires hold up. I mean, everybody has stopped from lap 169 to around 172. They can go. It'll be a matter of how much rubber you have underneath you.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if you got down to maybe 20 laps to the end and the yellow came out. Do you think you need tires to be competitive at the end? It'd be interesting to see if a couple of people came in and took the gamble and a couple of people decide to stay out.
Checking back a little farther in the field, Graham Rahal had a bit of an up and down day. He is chasing the 9th position. He's in 10th. That's Carpenter right in front of him. Ed, at one point in this race, was a full lap down, managed to work his way back onto the lead lap, and has a top 10 run going. Meanwhile, Oriol Servia has mirrors full of James Hinchcliffe and a lot of traffic in front. That is Helio Castroneves, Catherine Legg, who is 4 laps down in 19th, and we've got a yellow. And don't tell me, did I hear moisture? Turn 3. Big break for Helio Castroneves with this caution coming out. Is this rain? I got to be honest, I don't know if this is rain or if it's moisture on the track. Now we're getting word from our camera position that it is coming from the sky. So, well, we thought we were out of the woods, but we have a bit of rain over in turn number 3. You know, we were talking about who this helps, being Helio Castroneves. Another guy this helps is Scott Dixon. He was on the verge of going a lap down.
And, you know, with that change they made in the last pit stop using some different wing configuration angles by changing it, it makes you wonder whether or not his car is going to be fast enough now. And you saw him pull a tear off of his visor there. And what that is, it's a very thin piece of plastic that drivers have, about 3 or 4 of them on their helmet at the start of the race. And as they get moisture on there, debris, oil, or what have you, they tear those off and give them clean vision. And that's exactly what you saw him do there as we were riding on board in his cockpit.
Now, we've not heard any other reports of rain. Here comes Dario Franchitti. He's going to peel off from his 12th position. There's only 13 on the lead lap. So, Rick, this is not a bad move to make.
Yeah, this is all about tire strategy. Bring them in, put on some sticker tires, or almost sticker tires, because they've all been bedded in a little bit, then get him back out, make him so he's got the best car possible for this last run to the end.
You know, and to Rick's point, that's what I was saying a moment ago. With 20 laps left to go, would drivers decide they needed new tires if a yellow came out? And so it's going to be interesting to see now if other people decide that maybe they're going to gamble and maybe need new tires for that run to the end.
Well, and with 41 laps to go, the lap vehicles will still be in play where they are on the track. So you see Scott Dixon has also got his crew laid out. In fact, he peels off and heads down pit road at 60 miles an hour. Rick, he's coming your way.
Scott Dixon brings the car in. Remember, they were very, very happy with the car. They'd only done some minor adjustments. They felt this car was going to come to them. They really had anticipated the fact that during the course of this long run, they'd been working all weekend on the long runs. They thought they were going to be able to do it. Unfortunately, as you can see, as a result of that penalty, they're now having to play serious catch-up that they may not be able to do.
So the 2 Target Chip Ganassi cars are going to start 12th and 13th on this restart, and but they'll have fresh rubber and be able to go the distance on that rubber.
Well, it's one thing to be able to come up behind people, and then it's another thing to be able to pass, and you have to be able to be a lot quicker through the middle of the turn to carry the speed out of the turn to get that next driver down into the next turn.
Vince, give us an update on Helio Castroneves, because this is a big break for him.
It is a big break because he obviously was very close on fuel mileage. In fact, just before that yellow, John Erickson, his strategist, told me we are really, really close. Then they got the yellow. That obviously helps them. The big issue, I think, Marty and Scott, are the tires. In fact, Helio radioed in to John just a moment ago and said, how many laps to go? Erickson responded 41, and Helio said, you're kidding, right? He wasn't kidding.
and that goes back to what we've talked about since we got here. What we've noticed is, you know, the tires just are not going as far as the fuel, and he's going to be asked to hang it out again.
Well, here comes the decision. You're sitting third, and you know that the other guys have fresher tires on. You'll probably end up moving backwards. How far will you move back? How far will you fall back? That is the gamble, the risk-reward ratio. Or do you decide to come in now and change tires and know that when you go back out, you're going to be restarting the race in 13th spot?
From one yellow car to another yellow car. And Jamie, let's talk a little bit about our race leader, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Well, we heard his radio that he didn't hear the caution at all. So when he understood what the caution was for, he goes, what the heck is going on with my luck? I'm finally leading. But this is the situation. He worked very hard to get that lead, get a 2-second lead in fuel map 1 before the stop. When he stopped, he still maintained the lead. So you can imagine he's pretty bummed out right now. He has to restart with these guys breathing down his neck.
All right, thanks for the update, Jamie. Now, we want to also go back because we're still trying to sort out details on the penalty that was given to Scott Dixon. Now, we're going back to the restart, several restarts ago, in fact, two ago, and this is the one that did go green. Now, there's Scott on the outside of Rubens Barrichello.
Fourth car in line, and he's following Ryan Hunter-Reay. That's the one that we talked about. I do not see a problem with that whatsoever because EJ Vizo was going slow in the middle.
Now, right before that, there was a restart that was waved off. So I guess the question is,
Well, I think part of the problem is that he's also hanging back. He's not really up behind the car up in front. And I think that maybe they looked at that and did they wave the yellow because of him hanging back? That might be the question.
Well, let's find out from the team manager, Mike Hall. Rick?
Yeah, in fact, Mike Hall is just talking to his driver right now and kind of explaining what's going on, the fact that they've now seen the second one. He's not really thrilled about this. Still talking with Dixon right now to kind of explain what's going on. The difficulty for these guys is they thought it was the other restart, so as a result, they've been talking about that. Mike Hall, let's talk about that penalty. Do you think it was fair?
I'm sorry, what's that now?
Let's talk about the penalty. You know, was it fair? Obviously not for that second restart, but for the first one.
I don't know. It was waved off. The guy that's leading the thing was going so slow. Scott was in first gear. And it wasn't even a restart, but I guess we were penalized for that. So, I don't know. We saw it. Everybody has their opinions that sees it. I guess it's like watching a guy throw is it a strike or is it a ball? I don't know what to say. I think it was a bit harsh considering that everybody's jumping every restart. But that's the way it is. We've got a good car today with a Target car. We'll go racing for the rest of the race.
And Mike Hall, and I can tell you, Mike Hall has been doing a great job trying to keep Scott Dixon calm during this whole process.
And usually Iceman is pretty calm, but I think this one's got him up on the tire.
Oh, and I imagine it's probably red mist right now when he takes the green flag, and a little closer. This yellow certainly helps him get closer to the competition. As you mentioned, Marty saved him from going a lap down, so hopefully his car is going to be fast enough.
Getting ready to go green. It is Hunter-Reay, Kanaan, Castroneves, and Oriol Servia started this race 20th. He's now up to 4th, picking up 16 positions. He is now, remember, he gained 73 positions in the first 6 races. This guy has been very racy this year. Green flag is in the air, and boy, did you see Pagenaud duck down behind race leader Ryan Hunter-Reay. Now remember, Pagenaud was a lap down. I don't know if he was trying to get out of the way for somebody, but
well, very aggressive move, and maybe he realized that when he did not get the start and the jump in the start, that he would have to be defending.
Big log jam in the back of the field. There's EJ Vizo. Now remember, he has been up front running well all day long. He's trying to fight his way back after this last round of pit stops.
And Carpenter looked like he had a run going on the inside. Did he get that completed?
Well, it's Castroneves, then Carpenter. And here is Graham Rahal with there's Scott Dixon. Whoa. He's off. Rahal really had to get out of the throttle.
We have a yellow.
And we've got a crash. Dario Franchitti has put it into the wall between turns 3 and 4. So our 5th caution of the day. At Texas, we saw Scott Dixon go out in a single car incident into the wall. And this week, we see Dario Franchitti in the wall. He's telling the Hamaltro safety crew, I'm okay, guys. Just let me get out.
This as a driver is when you feel real bad. He's going to go to the back now and look to see what's going on. Makes me wonder if something broke to put him in that position. But whenever you've crashed and you have to push the button and tell the team that you've just hit the wall, it's always hated that. Not a great feeling.
All right. Let's go on board. Show you a replay of what was going on here.
Remember, we've just coming up to the restart.
Whoa, Briscoe.
So you can see his hand pushing the button on the steering wheel. He's rating in, telling them exactly what happened.
Okay, so that was earlier. And boy, it just stepped out. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for the safer barrier.
Safe.
Wow. I'm wondering if you're right. Let's listen, see if we can hear something.
Oh, something's broken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you hear the thud? Right now, listen. You know, could this been a precursor to what happened? I mean, that.
Well, he's rubbed wheels, and even on the onboard before he crashed, it looked like the tires were still inflated. So we just don't know.
If you go back and listen, and maybe we'll get a chance to do it. Just listen to and you'll hear a thud before the car ever spins to or as it's spinning to the wall.
See, he had changed down gears, and it was back on the throttle, and then something happened after that. So
yeah.
We don't know if that's gearbox related. I can't believe that is, or something in the back of the car broke and sent the car around and put the back end of the wall. So as you mentioned, it goes into the safer barrier, the steel, and that they've changed here and put in front of the concrete walls is certainly a great thing for the drivers here today.
And Rick is caught up with Chip Ganassi.
And for the second week in a row, he's having to watch one of his drivers have to climb out early. And did he say anything at all about the handling or what might have led to that?
Well, Rick, he said that apparently the lap before that, he said Briscoe and his spotter didn't even see him. So something obviously happened there because it looked like something broke in the car. I mean, it turned pretty quickly, like like a tire failure or suspension failure or something.
All right. So once again, second race in a row, these guys have to watch something go wrong, and unfortunately, this time they're not going to have the second target car to be able to make up for it.
Well, and this may be the end of Dario Franchitti's championship hopes this year. We talked about it at the beginning of this broadcast, and right now he would be shown if the race stopped, and obviously we still have laps to go, but he would be in 7th, 71 points behind with races running out.
And I mean, the only good side of it, as you can say, is that Will Power, who's leading the championship, is not having a great day today. He's not going to take away maximum points by the looks of it. But you're right. I think you really need to win today, have another great weekend at Iowa, because when they get back to the road courses, that's where Will Power certainly has his strength, and that's where he can make up points.
Dario's last DNF, the restart at Loudon last year in the rain. Before that, it was Kansas of April 2009. So, again, not the kind of day that Dario Franchitti or his fans were hoping for.
Well, and tough on the teams, Marty. I mean, we've had so many races in a row, and they've been testing usually Tuesday after a race weekend. They just tested in Iowa. After Indy, they were here at Milwaukee testing on Tuesday, and they race in Iowa next weekend. Just came from Texas to here, then to Iowa. I mean, these guys are not getting a break as far as the crew is concerned without any difficulties of having crashed cars. So without a doubt, the guys are going to have a lot on their plate to get ready for next weekend.
All right. Well, let's try and clean up some things here. We have 25 laps to go, and that's outside the 20-lap rule. So the lap vehicles are still in play here. So it is Ryan Hunter-Reay, your race leader, Tony Kanaan second, Servia third, Hinchcliffe fourth, and Castroneves fifth. And Ed Carpenter has moved up to sixth. Surveying the field, they're coming through four. There you saw Marco Andretti. Now he's a lap down in 14th, even though he was in row 3. Green flag flies. Here we go.
Later in the race, the more people dive towards the inside on the restarts. This is getting good.
Ryan Hunter-Reay takes advantage of the clean air and really jumps out in front. Kanaan is a good 4 to 5 car lengths behind. We're on board with Hinchcliffe. Dixon, remember, he's got fresh tires. Give him an opportunity to use them now. See if he can work his way back up, but he's got a lot of traffic to fight his way through, and that's Graham Rahal trying to go around Marco Andretti.
Oh, Marco gets down on the low side, takes the air away from Dixon. Now he's got
that's
coming
Conway.
up on the right-hand side, so will he have enough momentum to be able to dive down the inside of Marco? Does not look like it.
Conway also a lap down. So the two cars that are a lap down are not giving him any break on getting by, and there he is. I mean,
boy, that frustrates you as a driver when you know that the car that's taking up the space in front of you is a lap down. So here he's going to try and make a move, and he's probably got a little red mist in his eye right now simply because he's got that penalty. He just does not have the car, Marty. He can't keep the speed up in the middle of the turn.
Andretti and Conway are fighting for position on the racetrack, albeit 14th and 15th, one lap down. So there's always these two schools of thought here. Do you get these lap vehicles out of the way to allow the guys that have contention a chance to win, to play amongst themselves, or do you let these guys do their thing?
I see your point, Brett. If Dixon had a strong enough car where he had the grip, then he probably would have been able to complete the passes and be on his way. But right now, I'm just not sure that that's the case. Here, he's going to have another look at it. You see, he can't keep the speed up in the middle of the turn. Well, now with Conway on the outside that time, he gets that completed. Now he's got to take a charge and go forward and try and get past Marco and then continue on and catch the group ahead.
But now it's taken him 6 laps to get around just Conway. He's now 10 seconds behind the race lead, and time is running out. Now he's going to run on Andretti, and he makes the pass. And he's now 12 seconds behind the race lead. You just saw James Hinchcliffe and E.J. Vizo side by side. There is Dario Franchitti out of the Med Center, and let's go to Jamie Little.
It was a big hit. You can imagine there's a lot of media around here because we don't see you come out of the medical center very often. What led to that, Dario? We saw contact early, but did something maybe break?
I think something broke, Jamie, for sure. You know, Ryan, I was on Ryan's inside, and he just kept coming down there, but I just don't think his spotter told him I was there. That's pretty simple. But yeah, I got about half the car on the rumble strip there. Next lap, went in there, and something broke on the back end of the car. It was fine, and you'll see here, just in a second, it just snaps round. You actually see the car drop at the back there before it hit, so I think suspension broke. So tough end. The Cottonelle car was not very good today, unfortunately, and we're making the best of it. But yeah, a long old day out there.
Dario, looking at the big picture, how much extra pressure does this moment put on the future in the championship this year?
No extra, really. You know, I don't really look at it that way. If we do a good enough job, we'll win the championship. If we don't, we won't. I've always said that, and you know, all you can do each week is your best, and if that allows you to win a championship, great. If it doesn't, well, you know, that's it. We've had a great run so far, 3 in a row. We'd love to make it 4, but we'll just keep trying.
Glad you're okay. Dario Franchitti will end his day early. Marty.
And now, with 15 laps to go, let's check the Firestone lap leaders, because Ryan Hunter-Reay has a 2.5-second lead as you continue to watch the Hinchcliffe-Vizo battle for 4th. It is Ryan with the most laps led at 69. Dario had the first 63. Elio, EJ, James Hinchcliffe, the other leaders today. 14 laps to go, and it is now 12 cars on the lead lap. 18 seconds separate those 12 cars. This is the best battle on the racetrack. Vizo takes a peek, can't get it done. So talk about how the wind is playing an effect here. That's Oriol Servia right in front of those 2 cars. There's Servia. He is 3rd. Hinchcliffe, then Vizo. 3, 4, 5. Let's get an update on Hinchcliffe. Rick.
Well, just an amusing aspect of this. Even before we played that little bit where they were talking to Viso a moment about where he was going to go after Hinchcliffe, Hinchcliffe's team came on the radio and told him he's going after you in 3 and 4. They were already prepping him because apparently they're listening to the radios as well.
Well, he takes the defensive line, but he holds it all the way through turn 1.
And when the driver in front of you does that, Marty, then you need to revert back to the normal line, as we call it. So for E.J. Viso, he should have went back to the high side going into 1, and then he could have had a stronger run coming out of 1 to 2 and take a shot at it there. Once the driver blocks the door in front, then you really aren't going to make that move complete. You've got to take an alternate line.
You heard the call, 10 to go. We'll let you know while you're watching this. This is the best action on the track. It is now a 3-second lead for Ryan Hunter-Reay over Tony Kanaan. He has lengthened it.
And he's turning speeds, Marty, of about 1.5 miles an hour faster than Tony Kanaan, Oriol Servia, and James Hinchcliffe. So he's in clean air. His car is working for him, and he's just got to be smooth, consistent, and make no mistakes.
9 laps to go now here at Milwaukee. Servia takes a bit of a defensive line going into 3. Will he pay a price coming out of 4? And look at Hinchcliffe going on the high side and coming out of 4. He manages to take the position away from Oriol Servia.
Servia probably might be a little bit slow because with Hinchcliffe going in front of his bow, EJ should have a shot at this possibly.
Now they've all basically stopped back at the same lap. It was Servia at 169, Hinchcliffe at 170, so tires should be pretty much the same on all of these cars. Viso actually came in at lap 173, and he is right behind Servia. There you see Elio Castroneves in 6th, Tagliani 7th, Carpenter is now 8th, Rahaal's 9th, and Barrichello is sliding back. Rubens has dropped down to 10th now. I don't know if there's an issue or maybe the tires have just gone away on the number 8. There is Rubens. Boy, he has had a strong run all day. He has, this actually has been, I think, the lowest he's been all day under green flag conditions.
Pretty impressive, like we spoke about, after running a Formula 1 car for 19 years, coming over here and then being involved in this type of a format on ovals. I'm sure it's fun for him, but he probably thinks occasionally, like, what have I gotten myself into?
Well, Barrichello, his best run so far, we had an 8th at Barber and a 9th at Long Beach. Ryan Hunter-Reay, 4 laps remaining. It's been about 11 races since his last win at New Hampshire back in 2011. And of course, he won here back in 2004. Servia and Viso still going after each other.
Yeah, it looked like Viso took a run on him, did not get that completed because when we got to the camera shot, he really started to fall back. And it looks like Viso might have a faster car than Oriol Servia. That's why you keep hearing the radio connection to Viso saying just make the proper timing.
There you see the gap from their position all the way to our race leader. And this time by, there will be 2 laps remaining. And the car, you heard it, +4. And the car he's coming up on is Will Power. Power in 12th position right now. And this is the kind of finish he did not want, especially now that Dario Franchitti is out of this race, because he could have lengthened his points lead even more. White flag is going to be coming out this time by. 1 more mile for Ryan Hunter-Reay. Through turns 1 and 2 smoothly. He can almost coast home from here. The lead is now up to 4.6 seconds over Tony Kanaan. Through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Ryan Hunter-Reay, his 6th career win and 2nd win in Milwaukee. Second place to Tony Kanaan. James Hinchcliffe comes across the line in 3rd. Oriol Servia with another good run, and E.J. Viso rounds out the top 5.